TopMedTalk.
Hello and welcome to TopMedTalk. We are here at Euroanaesthesia 2024. It's the annual Congress of the European Society of Anesthesiology and Intensive Care. We're in Munich, Germany for the weekend. The meeting has been absolutely fabulous. The program, the scientific committee's done a wonderful job. And here in the exhibit hall, as TopMedTalk does, sitting here having our great conversations, we have been enjoying everything it has to offer. There's great exhibits, lots of buzz, lots of energy, an innovation space, Innovation Village, which has been a lot of fun. So very, very cool meeting. We wanted to say thank you to Ezek for supporting TopMedTalk to be here at the meeting this year in 2024. We couldn't do it without you. We also couldn't do it without our sponsors. Keeping TopMedTalk free and open access to the world, without their support, we couldn't do that. So thank you to all of our sponsors, Medtronic, Edwards Life Sciences, GE Healthcare, all of you, thank you so much. So in true TopMedTalk fashion, we have been here at the meeting over the last couple of days having conversations with all of our friends, new friends that we have met that have been presenters here at the meeting, different leaders within the EZEC organization, and they've been absolutely fabulous. But one of our favorite things to do is catch up with friends from the past who we've talked to before. And so my next guest is Dr. Sam Azijian. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Desiree, thanks. I always love speaking with you and to the audience of TopMed.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to think about it. I think you've been on three or four times now.
Yeah.
It's been great. So thank you for coming back. I know you've been really busy today talking up a storm.
Yes,
and lots of.
As you can hear from my voice, it's a productive weekend when my voice is gone by Sunday night.
Well, Sam, for all of our listeners, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Oh, sure. Chief Medical Officer of the new business unit inside Medtronic that's called Acute Care and Monitoring. So we are many products that your audience knows well, still sort of wrapped in a different box with a different name.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's still, biz anesthesia level monitoring. It's still nociception monitoring with Medisense in Europe. It is still microstream capnography, Nellcore pulse oximetry, and Invos near-infrared spectroscopy. And then on the respiratory side of the business, we have our Shiley Trach, Shiley endotracheal tube line, and of course our McGrath video laryngoscope that is extremely popular.
All over the world?
All over the world. And we've certainly seen a lot of great feedback here this weekend in Munich.
Yeah, I see all the virtual reality over there that people are getting to use some of the tools and technology. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, we've had some great conversations about video laryngoscopy on the podcast and hearing about the evolution of that technology and then really implementation into clinical practice and creating standards of care using video laryngoscopy. I think it's been great stuff. So you can catch those on TopMedTalk. Just search under video laryngoscopy. But for many of us who may not be familiar with the technology or utilizing the technology, it is becoming a standard of care to use video laryngoscopy in practice, isn't it?
Oh, no doubt. There are papers from all regions of the world that show very clearly not only video laryngoscopy, but in particular the McGrath device itself is actually better at empowering first pass success, and not just in new trainees, across the entire healthcare vertical. So your readers will want to get into this literature and look at it. The important thing to realize with video laryngoscopy is nomenclature, right?
Yeah.
Laryngoscopy comes in two forms, direct and indirect. And the beauty of the McGrath device is that you can teach people a direct technique.
Yeah.
You can cover the screen up if you want to teach them to look into the airway the way we used to with old devices. So you learn that direct technique and you learn it with the confidence of a video screen that empowers everyone in the room to help have situational awareness around intubation and that critical event as we get control of the airway.
Yeah, it is. You can do both. I'm very familiar with the technology and the VL and the McGrath. Use it in practice actually every day now. And we're not getting paid to say this, folks. This is something I do. I'm not in clinical as much as I used to. And though I feel like I was really good at direct laryngoscopy, I feel first pass rate for me, I want to make sure that I'm going to hit it every time. So I chose to do that.
Yeah, and we're seeing more and more operating rooms going to McGrath as a primary approach. The beauty of it is that on the same device in your hand, you can change from the standard Mac blade to what's called an X blade, and then use an indirect technique that's really video driven when you have a more difficult or challenging airway. So the thing we love about it is it's 2 devices in one, and it can really be the first step in your difficult airway algorithm, and it's already in your hand.
Yeah.
You simply change a blade.
Yep.
So yeah, the jury's out here. The data's in. The adoption has been incredible around the world.
Yeah.
And, I don't think any of us are driving cars that are 50, 60 years old, like an original laryngoscope.
Yeah.
It is
a couple of us out there.
A couple of us out there.
We like to drive those on a Sunday.
Not daily drivers. Not daily drivers. Exactly. Yes.
That's right. Well, Sam, so last time we chatted, it was actually at the World Congress in Singapore. Another fantastic meeting, bringing people from all over the globe together into one space in the name of perioperative medicine. It was a fantastic meeting. But we were together on one of the sessions talking about the future of technology and where we are going as a practice and a specialty in anesthesia. But what was really cool about it was not clinician-based. We had leaders from industry on the stage together talking about this. And who better to discuss where the future of technology is going in anesthesia than the companies themselves? There was a little bit of controversy around it. Is that appropriate to have? You as CMO of Medtronic, we had J.W. Beard from GE Healthcare, Christophe Pedin from Philips, as well as Dan Catalan from Massimo. So it was like, wow, the big ones are up there and they're talking to us, but a little bit of controversy around it.
A little bit of controversy. I have to say, I happily accepted the invitation and then was really worried, sort of like when you're having a big dinner party and it's 5 minutes after and no one's there. Is anyone going to come? And it was the opposite. If you recall, the room was packed and an overflow room was packed. It was, I think, what we took away as CMOs was that they want to learn about what are doctors in industry doing? What do you do? How do you bring new products to market? How do you work with customers? How do you bring scientific efforts into device manufacturing and growing the market and things like that? It was a hit by all means. And so, the things we talked about were really futures. I think the overall trend, as it is here in Munich, is around personalized anesthesia.
Yes, for sure. And how do we do that? We covered a lot of topics in that conversation. I think that was one of them. Patient safety and how everything that we're using the technology is contributing to not only patient safety, but improving quality of care overall and really taking it to the next level. I think we talked about sustainability, how to get the technology into lower resourced countries. So we covered a lot during.
Covered a lot.
What were some of the other things that you felt were really poignant from that conversation?
I think, because it was a World Congress, we had such diverse representation country-wise. And so the audience is very, very challenging to tailor your content to that broad of a scope. But look, sustainability is becoming a front runner here in how we bring technology to market. We have to play our role as a major medical device manufacturer to be as sustainable as possible and eventually carbon neutral. We have a defined plan for that path inside Medtronic. But inside my business, for example, our business, it's clear that using BIS monitoring, for example, to titrate the level of halogenated agent to the best possible, lowest possible level is coupled to clear carbon footprint reduction as we decrease agent production.
Yeah.
And we know halogenated agents contribute a tremendous amount of CO2 to the atmosphere. So right away, we've got an ability with technology that's on the table and in the OR today. If we use it right, we can really have an impact on the environment, a positive impact. The other aspect about personalizing an anesthetic is not only sustainability related, but it's also the right thing to do for the patient.
Yeah.
Why would I treat 4 70-kilo patients in a row exactly the same way with the same drugs and the same doses? Once you start using the windows into the brain under anesthesia that you get from BIS, for example, or Invos near infrared, you will start to see a whole new world of capability for dosing. And it'll make you a better provider, and you'll be individualizing care with technologies that use the patient as their own control. That's the future of anesthesia, but it's here today.
Yeah.
It's here today. And we've got to play our part in educating customers and providers, obviously, that they can get the most out of these devices.
And it's hard. I mean, change management is hard. Getting people in front of the technology and interacting with technology is sometimes a challenge. But it's one of those things that, quite frankly, what we talked about on stage, This was device agnostic. This was company agnostic. We were talking about the future of where we're going. Obviously, this conversation is not, but it's really important when we're trying to change hearts and minds to interact with technology. And we're going to have to do it, right? I mean, there's just no way around it. All of this technology is coming in different equipment and things like that is coming into practice. So I think it's important. One of the things that I was wanting to mention was the Biz product. There's a new Biz monitor that's out. Tell us a little bit about that. I've interacted with it a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get more into it.
Good. Yeah. So it's exciting. We've revamped the Biz tablet, or the Biz box, if you will, into a beautiful new tablet. It's called the Biz Advance. Tons more real estate, touchpad, sort of mirrors the rest of our digital life, which really, if you've used an old aspect monitor for a long time, you'll be very excited to see this new form factor. All the same trusted performance and industry-leading research behind the algorithms in there remains. And it's an exciting step in the right direction to give a little more real estate to these critical parameters. You know, we're seeing now, Desiree, most of younger anesthesiologists are learning DSA and raw EEG waveform interpretation. So now you've got actually real estate to see that bilaterally, which makes a big difference. It's exciting. It's a great platform on which to advance the beauty of giving personalized anesthesia.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say, or what I've really enjoyed is actually being able to look at the waveforms and digging into those a little bit more. I think there's a lot of opportunity for clinicians to be able to get more into that space and learn a little bit more about the types of anesthesia that they're giving, how much anesthesia they're giving, and just like you said, personalizing what they're doing. Sir McIntosh said it 50, 60 years ago, and I'm going to get the quote wrong, but it's give just enough and no more. Along those lines. So this is 60 years ago. It still applies today. Absolutely.
And that's not just for anesthetic agents. It's for analgesics as well, and it's for neuromuscular blockade. It's not a one-size-fits-all game. And especially as we're dealing with an aging population, a burgeoning aging comorbid population, frailty, brain frailty is a huge issue. And I know I'll eventually need an anesthetic. I certainly want my brain to be the number one priority in that room.
Absolutely.
Following my airway. And then the operation.
Well, if you're taking good care of the airway, then you know you're...
At least we got the foundation set for, so yeah, exactly.
So focus on the brain, because you got to have a good airway if you're focusing on the brain. That's what I'm trying to say. One of the things that we talked so much about on the podcast, what was talked at the meeting, was AI and artificial intelligence. So it's a part of life already, is one thing that I always say. I mean, we carry it around in our hand everywhere we go with cell phone technology. I mean, the AI that's built into that, all the different navigation apps and everything we do now on our phones. But talk to us where we're going and where we're headed in your space with artificial intelligence.
And look, shrinking workforce, more patients than ever every year.
Efficiency issues.
We have to, we have to use AI, if you will, huge term, right?
I was just going to say, we spent some time trying to define this, didn't we?
Exactly. I mean, I like to think of it for our business as ways to use machine learning to make us more effective, and also to have a little more fun at work, less keyboarding time, earlier predictive interventions where you can make a difference earlier versus lagging indicators and things like that. So
proactive,
preventive. Exactly. So how do you do that? Well, you've got to aggregate as many parameters as possible. You got to do it in a big fashion, lots of data, and then you've got to crunch the algorithms and create those predictive pathways. Sounds like a fantasy. It's not. We have a device that we sell in the US called BioButton from BioIntelliSense. It's a wearable monitor, and it uses the patient as their own control. Again, the foundation for the future of all monitoring and all anesthesia, patient as their own control, and looks at, through random forest machine learning algorithms, departures in respiratory rate and heart rate trends from baseline at rest.
Nice.
And
medical grade,
absolutely. Yes, medical grade.
In the hospital for medical grade surgical patients.
Correct, absolutely, in the post-op setting. Not ready for ICU yet, but on the wards and at home. Brilliant. So a lot of data getting ready to come out of Houston Methodist, you'll see, where it's on over 2,000 patients every day. The amount of data coming out of there is growing faster than the universe every day.
Yes.
So it's really proving that these kinds of technologies can really help us, getting nurses away from the keyboards, collecting vital signs automatically, putting it on and not worrying about checking it, letting the device let you know, much like, as you said, our phones. My refrigerator might know when I'm getting low on milk and tell me. That's a simpler version of this, but it's another way to look at how we can bring technologies from the outside into the hospital and help patients earlier in their cascade.
One of the other topics that we touched on, and you said it, was the big data, having so much data from machine learning. I mean, it's always learning, so it's always creating more and more. But being able to distill that down into something that we can use in clinical practice that doesn't overwhelm us as clinicians.
Right. We're 100% in touch with that. And we're committed to not bringing anything new to market that does not also include workflow or work burden reduction to the provider experience. If it doesn't help your workflow in this setting where we've got less providers, lots of burnout, more patients, it's not going to help patients or providers. So that's part of our value proposition for all of our pipeline is workflow improvement, whether it's better human factors, better connectivity, better algorithms, all of the above and other factors. It's got to be able to automate some things for us to get us away from the administrative side of delivering care and doing what we want to. We want to talk to our patients and lay hands on and make them better.
Educate. I always say that we've lost it as a nurse. We've lost the ability to educate our patients, and that's really what our main job should be. And that's what it used to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Before all of these.
For sure.
One of the things too that I love, and you and I have talked about this in the past, but just the partnership with Medtronic, always putting the patient first, of course, but also with clinicians and really figuring out what it is that as a clinician, what you can provide for us to make our jobs better. And I think that some of the technology and the things that you're talking about, that's exactly it.
Yeah, it's one of the great privileges of my small contribution to this big, amazing company is being able to get close to clinicians.
And you yourself a clinician.
A clinician.
And really helping to inform what you're doing.
Yeah, former PICU doc, but, I never did cardiac anesthesia in adults. I mean, I've got a world of amazing providers out there that are helping to shape what comes next. That's the beauty here is creating relationships with providers, not just anesthesiologists, CRNAs, nurses on med-surg wards and in ICUs, respiratory therapists in the countries that have them. We've got a lot of different professions that touch our monitors, even more than doctors in many cases, right?
Yeah.
So we've got to design products that are suitable for all of those professions that bring the same value propositions, reduce workflow, keep patients safer, allow earlier actionability in a deterioration cascade. That's a job that is difficult, but we do well because we are so connected to our customers.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you one of the last questions during our session was, what do you see as the future? Where are we headed to? Are we going to have robots intubating our patients? Is that something that we need to worry about? Because we still hear this. I feel like the message should be out there, but people still say, I feel like AI, robots, all of these things are going to be taking my job.
Yeah, you hear that a lot. And look, AI in medicine is going to actually free us up from tasks that are mundane, common, pull us away from why we're really there, which is to take care of our patient, give us less keyboarding time, and make us more efficient and effective. I mean, look, there is no reason why we should be afraid of it. However, there are a lot of considerations around research coming out of AI. FDA is out in front of this right now. There's a collaborative community around smart medical devices that Julian Goldstein from Harvard has formed with FDA. So really key thought leaders or really excellent thought leaders are out in front of this, and our regulatory partners are responding. So we think with responsible proliferation of AI, we're not going to lose our jobs. You still need a human to integrate everything, and you still need a human to provide the human touch, which is the best part of being a practitioner.
Absolutely.
I don't think we'll see robots intubating our patients, but I wouldn't have a problem with the robot bringing things I need before I ask for them.
Yeah.
And stocking my cart. So
well, yeah, I
there. I mean, so anything we can do to help humans have jobs that only humans can do is a great thing.
Yeah.
Because we've all taken on a lot of extra jobs in the hospital. Think about it.
Oh, yeah, a million.
Yeah.
I mean, and doing so much more than we weren't necessarily even trained to do.
Correct.
Correct. I mean, I say the robot's intubating a little flippantly, but to be honest, I mean, it might be something that we see. If robot can do this better because they see all the anatomy and they can look, at the patient. I've never heard this, and I doubt you guys are doing it at this point, but there may be something that computers can actually do better than humans.
Maybe so. There may be some common repeatable tasks that could be automated.
Yeah.
I think that technology is way down the road to scale and be safe. And I think most of us who intubate people really like intubating people.
I love it.
I don't want to give up
it's
that.
It's like one of my favorite
That's
skills.
one of the things I want to keep doing.
Sticking needles in people.
I want to keep doing. What I don't want to do is have to click 40 times on a screen during a case or on rounds or something. And, that's where we need to mind the AI. We also need to be sensible about when we have a wearable on a patient, there's probably a lot of other tasks that we could automate around the hospital. We could get better metrics around time in the room, time in transport, all these things that could fit together and help us manage throughput within the hospital a lot better, which is a key metric.
Absolutely. Well, and think about all the time that's spent taking vitals every 4 to 8 hours. And then if they don't work and then, or the blood pressure's low and you go back in 15 minutes and then there are a lot of things that because of that we can automate. And then it's not someone saying 2 different people who took a blood pressure 15 minutes apart and the second one doesn't realize that there is actually patient deterioration.
Right.
That's what I love.
And I think that's where we're going to see the biggest change with wearables very soon is continuous monitoring, not turning ward patients into ICU patients. No. A fire and forget. Put it on and let it inform you. Let it notify you. That's a big paradigm shift, honestly. And again, up to the companies that are going to enter this space to really help drive with education, helping partners, customers pick the right location, the right ward, the right patient cohort to start with, bring it along and get them up to speed in a fashion that makes sense for each customer.
Yeah.
And we've learned with our wearable business in the US, it's very different for each customer. And it's one of the most fun parts about selling the wearables is helping customers so much, bring it on board.
Yeah. And realizing what's your problem and how do we solve your problem with what we have and how can we make that work? I love it. Sam, it is always such a pleasure to hear from you.
Likewise.
With you. It's
always a pleasure. Great to see you again. And thanks.
Yeah. And thank you for listening to TopMedTalk. You can always find us at TopMedTalk.com. Social media, we're on your favorite podcatcher. We've been on YouTube. Sam, I don't know if you know that, but we're on YouTube.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
I'll subscribe this
please
minute.
Do. Give us a thumbs up.
Definitely.
Yeah, every little bit helps. So do check that out. And thanks again so much for listening. And thanks for all the support from Medtronic to keep TopMedTalk free and open access to the world.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for all the great work you do.
No. Cheers.
Cheers.
TopMedTalk. Thanks for downloading TopMedTalk. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. And of course, on social media, we're on Instagram, Facebook, and X. Also, it's important to remember that TopMedTalk is the broadcasting arm of EBPOM, evidence-based perioperative medicine. We'd love you to find out more about that, and the way to do that is ebpom.org. Check out our website and find out about some of the incredible conferences we're going to be arranging across the year. ebpom.org.